Hey there. I just had a really great session with a woman who was not showing up in her business. And that's a lot of people, right? It's a lot of us. It can be challenging to show up in our business, but it's something that she was really seeing in other areas of her life as well. So we really started digging in, and I love the conversation. So I wanted to go ahead and record some of the things that we talked about so that I can share those things with you all too, because I feel like this is a huge conversation for entrepreneurs, because that's the most important thing that we can do as entrepreneurs is to show up and be consistent. I know I harp on and on about content and being visible, but that's because if you're not showing up, if you're not being consistent, then nobody sees who you are. Nobody can tell what you're doing unless you're out there talking about it and sharing what you know and sharing yourself. So if you're someone who struggles with showing up, I just want to talk about these tips, okay? So number one, if you're having a hard time showing up, go back to your why. Like, why did you ever start your business to begin with? You know, you may need to renegotiate. I know for me, when I started my business, my big why was to stay at home with my daughter. You know, she was actually I started my business when I was pregnant with her, you know, so I had a huge why. I had a huge burning desire. I did not want to put her in daycare, so I just worked my butt off to do everything that I could to stay in business and to be as successful as I possibly could, balancing all of that as a single mother. So I had a huge why. But, you know, when she started school full time, I had to really go back. I started struggling again with my business, and I wasn't showing up, and I had to really go back to what is my why? You know, my why had changed is what I found out. And you know, I needed to create a new why, because it was more about now, it's more about me showing up and fulfilling my mission in life and feeling more fulfilled as a person, to where I'm really expressing who it is that I know that I can be and pushing myself to become that as much as I can on a daily, regular basis. And, you know, once I got back to my why and shifted that around, things started changing for me again. So if you're struggling with showing up, go back to why you started to begin with. You know, you may need to reevaluate that for yourself. Secondly, stop making it about you. You know, we get so scared to show up on video, and we're sitting there critiquing what we look like, and oh, this isn't good enough, that's good enough. Meanwhile, there's all this information that you have to share, all of this juicy nuggets that just ooze out from you, right? When you work with clients individually or when you're talking to your friends. But all of that's going unnoticed if you don't start showing up. You know, it's not about you. It doesn't matter what you look like. Think about, you know, I was looking at the videos that I did a couple of weeks ago with the visibility challenge. You know, if I would have gone into my head and decided that those videos weren't good enough, then I would have never gotten them out, right? And look at the impact. You know, I decided to show up anyway, imperfectly, and just do the best that I can. And that's what I'm doing here on this video now. And I'm starting to have more and more fun with it. And I know that the people that did the video challenge were experiencing the same thing. And maybe they're not showing up again this week, which is why I'm making this video. You know, the thing is, it's not about what the person looks like or sounds like. You know, people are so critical of themselves when they see themselves on video. And meanwhile, you know, if you don't show up, then you don't make an impact. It doesn't make a difference. So stop making it about you and show up, go into your heart space and share from your heart. Like, that's really why you're doing this, right? To share your message, to be helpful. So go into that space. You know, it's really not about you. Get determined. You know, it's like, well, like this woman in particular, she kept wanting to talk about, like, well, why am I not showing up? This is a pattern, but I need to know why I'm not showing up. No, really, you don't need to know why. You just need to start showing up. What you focus on grows. So stop putting your attention on wondering why you're not showing up and beating yourself up and getting down on yourself about it. Believe me, I've been there too. And it creates this vacuum where we just keep pulling ourselves down more and more. We get more and more down on ourselves. Where if you just have discipline with yourself and say, no, I'm not going to entertain that. I'm just going to show up. It doesn't matter why I haven't been showing up. What matters is that I start showing up, and start putting your focus there, and start putting your focus on showing up, and start building that muscle, because it's a muscle. And that's really when I kind of had my crossroads with my business, because I came to the point too where it's like, okay, I either need to get really serious and start being visible and showing up and do what I know that I need to do to grow my business, or I need to go back to work. I had a very lucrative career in IT, but I actually left IT because I wanted to have a more lucrative career. I didn't want to be, limited by a certain number, a salary, which was a great salary, but I actually left to make more money. And that's what you can develop in creating your business, but you have to show up. You have to get determined. So one of the ways that I like to do that too is to put a date on stuff. Put it out there. If you want to show up and do a series, show up and go ahead and tell people in your group or your followers, hey, I'm going to show up, or I'm going to start this challenge on this day, or I'm going to have a mini series that's once a week for however many weeks. Put a date on it. That's something that my dad taught me. It's never going to happen unless you put a date on it. And that is so true and so powerful. When you work for someone else, you have deadlines. You have someone else maintaining all of that for you. But when you work for yourself, you have to create your own deadlines. And that's one of the ways that I've found to do it, to hold myself accountable, is to go ahead and put it out there. When I did that visibility challenge, I put it out there when I was in Florida, going into the summer, which is a time where I usually don't show up as much in my business. Again, I just shared, that's why I had my business, so that I could stay at home with my daughter. But I decided this year, I really want to stay grounded in my business throughout the summer. And I knew that I could find a way to do both. She's 10 now. So I can do that. I can make those changes. So that's one of the ways that I did it. I set a video when I was in Florida. I kept talking about for like 2 weeks, yes, I want to do this visibility challenge. And so I just took action. Like, I made a video and put it out there. Hey, I'm going to do a visibility challenge, and this is when it starts. When I got back from vacation, I was like, oh my God, why did I say I would do that? But guess what? I got it done because I put a date on it, and I told you that that's when I was going to do it. So I showed up to do it. And that's what I'm talking about. We have to keep showing up consistently and making deadlines, and just get determined. Like, set some goals for yourself. If you don't have any already, create a to-do list. It's easier to work on your business when you know exactly what you want to accomplish. It's easy to push it off if you don't know what you're going to work on, or you don't have something specific that you want to have done by the end of the day. But you have to really get disciplined and start disciplining yourself. Don't allow yourself to go off into these tailspins and blah, blah, blah. It's just like if you're a parent, what you would say to a child, like, enough. That's enough. Set a boundary with yourself. I'm not looking at that anymore. I'm going to start showing up. I'm going to start focusing myself on my business and doing what I know that it takes. Another thing is, everyone I work with are world changers, change agents, people that have known their whole life that they had a mission, that they want to share something, they wanted to make a difference, right? So step into who that part of you is. Start seeing yourself as that person. Start identifying with that person in the present. It's not some far off person that you're never going to be. Start looking at that person. Start identifying with that person. And if you have like a mentor or someone that you really like to follow or look up to, start seeing, what is that person doing? And start looking, what would my future self be doing? If I'm a person who's speaking to large audiences and has a huge following and writing books, what would I be doing? How would I be spending my time? How would I be showing up? And start taking steps towards becoming that person, all the while you're visualizing being that person. Start showing up and creating a connection with yourself and with your business that you spend time on regularly every day. And it's a connection that you keep strengthening, because it's so easy to blow it off when you're self-employed. It's so easy to find something else to do. But if you get committed and you get determined and you discipline yourself to show up at least one time a week, you can make it happen, and you will make it happen. And if you need to, put a date out there. Tell other people what you're doing. Make a commitment to do a weekly video or a weekly training. Do something to make yourself show up. So that's all that I have. I hope this video is helpful, and I will talk to you all next time. Blessings.